What's going on, everybody? I am back with another video. This is Kev JB. I hope everyone is doing well today or this evening. I know earlier today I came online with a video discussing the financial plans of Trump and Harris. We also did a little bit of education of what exactly is an economic ideology and how socialism, communism, and capitalism are economic policies that definitely are influenced within politics, but they are not necessarily political ideologies. So if you want to if you want to check that out, you could check that out in the on the channel. This particular video, just gonna be doing some chit chatting. I feel like I haven't done well. I take it back. I have done it, but I haven't really done it in detail like I would like to. So you see, we have like a fall update, fasting update, discussions and predictions, all this different stuff, and hopefully there'll be open dialogue based on some stuff that we have been discussing on this channel, especially within the past week. So just to give some feedback about fasting and what led me to do this particular fast this September. In July, I was waking up in the morning and I was led to fast for September. It was the beginning of July. So I had 2 months to take my time to prepare for September and the fast throughout this entire month. So I did it on the 1st. We're now on the 28th. So there's 2 days left. It's been insightful and challenging at the same time, right? What led me to do this particular fast is because I grew up Christian, and I'm very much within the Christian faith, and so I was inspired from the stuff on the Hebrew calendar, the year 5785, and as well as my own personal life, because my birth month falls like right before that time frame. It was the very thing that said this would be the perfect time to do it, even though it would be a sacrifice because I would not be able to enjoy my birthday the way that I wanted to, and stuff like that. So the fast that I have been doing throughout this entire month has been from the standpoint of doing it every single day from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's completely dry fasting, so that's a whole 14 hours. And then being able to have a meal throughout the day, being able to snack on anything for as long as it's not completely stuffing my stomach, then I would be good to go for the day. And so with each passing day, there has been a particular topic that I have been focusing on, and it has been a complete list of stuff that I'm going to be using for later as a plan, as a goal for something in the future. So my fast is now about to be over very, very soon. So I'm still in the middle of it for the 28th. After I break it at 8 o'clock, I'll be able to eat a meal and then be prepared for the final 2 days before I officially end the fast on October, even though technically it would be the evening of September 30th, but it doesn't really officially end until October 1st. So there is that. Also throughout this time, besides the fact of just taking the time to fast from food, I also been fasting in this set time from anything that is not considered godly, and or Christian, I should say. So if I have been away from certain platforms just because I had to honor that particular fast. There's certain things I could not watch as far as my entertainment. As far as entertainment is concerned, until that time, each day had elapsed. And so it was very challenging for me because I was binge watching some TV series that I could not watch like as I want to, because of the whole time. So, and that's been a bit of a challenge, but that's something I've been able to work with. I've actually at a point now, because it's been 28 days, 4 weeks now, it's actually been a lot easier to manage and deal with. So I'm very excited for that. I'll be excited once I'm able to officially finish. But I did it from the standpoint of what this particular year and what I believe to be the season of my life and the life that is happening across the world is doing as well, what it is right now as well. So there is the fasting update. So I'm just almost done. I'm so happy to be almost done. I miss eating when I want to. However, I will say this. One of the things that I have learned about eating is that whenever I'm stressed, whenever I feel like I am at a point to where I'm just about to break, food has always been there to be a comforter. I remember, I think I said it at one point in a video or something that I got really stressed out. I think it was actually in a channel at one point. Like I was really stressed out and it was forcing me to eat. And and somebody was encouraging me not to do that, not to stress eat. But has always been a coping mechanism that I could fall back on. In fact, I would always be able to feel some sort of relief and I guess a sense of peace whenever I ate something. It made me realize why it's the food, the FDA is known as the FDA, which is the Food and Drug Administration, because there is something about food that really has that sentiment of a drug when you are feeling anxious or stressed out or something like that. Being able to snack away without really much of a thought and feeling that sense of euphoria or um, that sense of just utter relief or ease in that moment. There's something about that that is really truly interesting when it comes to food. And so it's almost kind of like the food becomes um, the way to kind of ease stuff, almost kind of like, I won't say necessarily like a cigarette because it may not be as dangerous, but that was kind of like that coping mechanism for me. And so the fast forced me to have to deal with my own stress without food, with my own triggered moments. And I had some triggered moments that occurred, particularly I would say around the second and third week of September. I was like really um, going through some stuff, and things were like really not coming together like I wanted them to, and I felt that urge to want to consume something, particularly granola, because I love granola. But in that moment, I had to confront what it is that was going on and deal with it rightfully instead of trying to cope with food. So that is one thing I could say that this fast definitely helped me with that I want to try to take into the future as far as other things that I want to go forth and accomplish after the fast. So another thing is in regards to the fall updates and stuff. So for me, I am very mindful of the seasons. I'm a lot more mindful of the seasons now. Now that I've matured a bit, especially spiritually, I've been a lot more mindful of that than I have been in the past. And because of the stuff that I've been learning within this particular fast, it has taught me to be mindful. Well, even before the fast, but there's something about this one that really taught me the importance of paying attention to the season of things, right? Like when it comes to the foods that we eat, there's certain foods that don't occur, all year. Actually, all foods don't occur within a year, but we're used to foods being around, every day. But the reality is that there are a lot of foods that are seasonal, particularly if you're growing food, it's definitely a seasonal thing, right? So we're in the fall, we're actually within an equinox season. Now, I find that, because of the Gregorian calendar, we tend to think that winter is well, not necessarily winter, but January, which is a solstice month, was within the solstice quarter, is the time of the new year, and it's actually not. Um, for me, from what I've discovered, with a lot of, I mean, like you're free to, I know there's calendars that accept a whole lot of different things as the new year, but what I've been able to take the time to notice is that um, and what has made sense for me is seeing New Year happening within the equinoxes or certain moments, especially spiritually, that occur within the equinoxes, right? That would be spring and fall. So here in the US, like, especially if you look at, I know we did a video, I did a video about the times and how March was originally the ideal first month of the year according to the Roman calendar. And so part of the reason for that is because it falls in line with the spring, whereas January falls in line with, the winter and stuff like that. So I started paying attention to seasons a lot more. So I think of the spring as the new year, or, when March gets here and it falls in line with spring, I see that with as the new year. And then there is the summer, and then there's fall. And now I see that as a different new year as well because of the things that I've been learning with, Christianity and seeing how it connects with Judaism and stuff like that. And there is this period called Rosh Hashanah, which is the official, well, this on the silver new year on that calendar. So even with that, I see how fall is synonymous with harvest and elevation, and then it's winter, and then going back to spring. So a lot of my mindset has really changed with navigating time, navigating seasons in a more proper, more defined way. So that way that I'm able to be in balance, not necessarily with things on our own calendar, on the Gregorian calendar, but what makes sense within the spiritual plane and along with the seasons. Some people may even say astrologically, or even with things that are from other beliefs and religions. But that's the thing that has kind of really worked for me. And so even when it comes to this fast and the time of elevation and growth and stuff like that, even partaking in the stuff that's happening with the upcoming calendar year on the Hebrew calendar, that is the thing that has kind of helped me to progress in my own life, my own personal life. And it's helped me to kind of put things into a bigger perspective of what I want to serve for myself and serve for others in this particular time. Okay. Um, Having said that, another important aspect of the fall update, as you all know, we've been through a lot throughout this year, particularly in this country, in the United States. Um, One of the things that's very interesting about, hurricane season, which falls usually within the end of summer and the early fall, is that it really reveals a whole lot about our infrastructure and how much it needs improvement, especially within this season when we're looking at the economy and we're looking at the potential of this of the ports and the trucks going on strike more and more. We're seeing how bridges and stuff, particularly like with the bridge in Baltimore, when that was struck and that went down, that was a major port bridge. And now here we are, we're at a point where we are seeing these strikes happening and occurring, that all that affects our supply chain. And it's very, very important to pay attention to all this stuff because it's almost kind of like it's an indicator of what could be the civil unrest that is looking like it's becoming more and more of a reality. And I want to take the time to encourage you all to please start planning ahead. I know it's kind of late now in saying that. It's kind of seem like, well, everything seemed to happen so fast. What can I do in such a short amount of time? I don't think there is anything that is a small thing to prepare as far as whether you need to stack up or store things, or to just make sure that you're paying attention to keeping abreast with the information. There's so much information now that tries to distract us, especially because of this election that's happening. But you need to make sure that you are keeping abreast with the information that affects you most. This port situation is going to affect you. The hurricane Helen, which I was able to experience, fortunately, I was not caught in the eye of the storm. So mainly the thing we got was just some broken trees and some damaged properties and stuff like that. There are people that are having flooded cities. Their houses are underwater, their cars are underwater. There are many people who have lost their lives. I think it's like 52 people have lost their lives and possibly rising. There are so many things that has already been a stress to a number of people when it comes to economic matters and how that affects them personally. And now you have this situation that's coming up in courts, and then there's the upcoming election. That's part of the reason why I've been talking so much about defining what your American dream is, while we're going over policies and going over some laws, because these are things that are going to affect you if they haven't started to already. And so who you vote for matters, who you support matters. I have been learning a lot about people with who they support, and most specifically why they support certain candidates here in throughout this year. I'm encouraging each of you to really take your time to use this season right now, this fall season, this upcoming month in particular with October. I want you to really take yourself seriously. I want you to really take the things that are going on seriously. At this point now, I think I won't say everybody is mostly undecided, but I think everybody kind of has an idea of who they're wanting to go for and vote for. And I want you all to be very mindful about who you vote for. But even beside that too, I actually have my thoughts as to who is the one that people are, that the powers that be are wanting to have in the office. I have my beliefs about that just based on the demeanor of the person and how they are able to kind of get away with certain things that other people would not have gotten away with, as far as for presidential campaign, and even seeing how things that are happening today and have been happening for a few years is going to be a continuation, if not a intensifier of this person being in office. So I am someone who believes that Kamala is someone who the establishment wants to be president. The establishment, deep state, powers that be, however you want to call them, I think that she is someone who is the person who they want in power. I think that she is someone that they want to continue a lot of stuff that has already been happening and possibly make things even more severe within this country. That's part of the reason why on Monday I want to go over the CBP1 app, along with the humanitarian patrol program that has been created to bring these migrants in and make them legal immigrants to be accepted into the country with a lot of ease, despite the protest of so many citizens. I think that is something that we need to really start to keep in mind, and that's what we're going to be talking about on Monday. But in the meantime, make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that you are able to truly define your dream. I spoke about this in the video, the American dream, quote unquote, and how the ideal American dream is something that is being given away. It's being sold to, I believe, is being sold to these migrants, because for a lot of migrants, just to have a crumb of the American pie is a whole lot better than what they may have had in their own countries. Especially if you're talking about criminals, especially if you're talking about countries that have been rooted in poverty. Just to have a little bit of something can mean a whole lot. And so a lot of people are talking about, how American people don't want to work and stuff like that. I don't think it's that they don't want to work. It's just that a lot of people want to use these migrants for cheap labor. And so they don't really, without really having to invest into them. But when it comes to these migrants, you give them a little bit of what's American, it's a whole lot better to them than everybody else. For those who live here, just simply having a little bit isn't enough, because we know better. Especially if you had generations here, you know better than that little bit being enough. But they will use that to their advantage, just for their own leverage. And so those are the things that I want people to start being mindful of when you're coming to, even whether you're voting or not, what could be the future that could be slated to be, as things unfold with supply chain, with jobs in particular, with these migrants, and with the idea of the American dream, the idealized American dream. I think for a lot of Americans, because it's been sold to us that this is what we should have, and now we're starting to see that these migrants who are claiming to be immigrants, are taking the are being given to, not just taking it, they're being given it. I think there's going to be a really good time for you all to really start reconsidering what you need to have as your American idea of a dream, of a goal, of an actual goal, not just simply just some idealized dream that you're entitled to have. And I know I'm going back to that, but it's really important. You got to have a clear idea of what it is that you're truly wanting, because what it is that you feel like you're entitled to have is being given away while you're slaving away at a job with with things increasing more and more, and for prices for some people, their wages are not keeping up with those things. Many people actually, they're not keeping up with things. So um I wanted to kind of I just wanted to have that kind of discussion with you all. I don't know who is actually going to listen to this and take this seriously, because this is a very serious matter. Um, our way of life is changing as Americans, and especially if Kamala gets in office, which she's going to um, when she's going to continue and even intensify the things about it. We just did the financial plan earlier of how she's going to continue a lot of stuff that Biden has already done and actually increase those things all the more. I really want you all to be very cautious about how you are living your life, how you're spending your money, how you are relating and connecting with people, and just being careful overall. For a lot of these migrants that are coming in here, particularly the Venezuelans, we have no idea of necessarily about their history. For many of us, we know as much as they can tell us until possibly something happens. So please be careful. And again, we're going to go over that on Monday. We're also going to go over on Wednesday Agenda 2030, and how a lot of this stuff involving clean energy is part of the Agenda 2030, along with a lot of propaganda when it comes to some of these goals, including a lot of stuff with the gender inequality and stuff like that. All right. So I hope that you were able to get my thoughts again. Just wanted to share a little bit of what's been happening, what's been going on recently. I've just been taking my time to really finish up with this fast, so that way I can kind of get back to the usual things. I'm taking my time, of course, but eventually I want to try to get back to a sense of normal with what the fast has been doing, so that way I can get back to like certain discussions on channels and stuff like that. And just be mindful of this fall, you all. This fall is something very the beginning of this particular quarter, this Q4 quarter that we're entering into, is looking like it's going to be a very serious one. Please make sure that you're taking your time to prepare. If Hurricane Helene is any indicator of what could possibly be among the multiple pandemonium stuff that could be going on, just take your time to prepare, and especially for things that's going to be happening with the future beyond this election. I want to make sure that with this channel, I know I present a lot of articles, I present a lot of information, and that may not be as entertaining to you all, but at some point, the entertainment has to have its place, and we got to talk about some real stuff. And my goal is to use these articles, the information and the facts that are right in front of you, to talk about some really important stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing. With that said, I will see you all later in the next live stream. We'll talk about the CBP, the Custom and Border, I think Patrol or something like that. One app, and the humanitarian parole, which involves Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans, because these are the main people who are being brought over here. They're actually being flown over here through these particular programs and this app. All right. So that's gonna be it for now. Thank you all for tuning in. I was hoping there would be a lot more people here, but I guess this is something that is this maybe not be the thing that people want to see. So we'll have to see how that goes for the next time. All right. So I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.